Hello, everybody. My name is Martín Blank, or Blanc, depending on who I'm talking to. To you, it could be Blanc. And the title of my talk is What Are the Fruit Trees? The Promise of Positive Psychology in the Face of Youth Violence. A few years ago, I was teaching a mindfulness class in San Jose, California, to a group of youth who came from really challenging environments. Some of them were in gangs, others lived in poverty, some of them had lost their parents. I remember there was this one student in the back of the room. He would sit in the corner and kind of like had his arms crossed and would look at me and just kind of like roll his eyes during the class. And I knew he wasn't really into what we were doing, but that's okay. I just continued. One of the things that we were learning in that class was mindful breathing. And one of the breathing techniques we learned stimulates the vagus nerve that runs up and down the back of your spine. So the vagus nerve is the longest of all cranial nerves, and it's as part of our parasympathetic nervous system. It has the effect of sort of turning on and off the fight or flight response. So it's kind of like a volume knob to your emotions. And a lot of these students got benefit from this, but I remember Juan telling me, he's like, man, why do we gotta learn this breathing? Right? Like, I already know how to breathe. If I didn't know how to breathe, I'd be dead. I'd be like, you're probably right, Juan, but let's give it a shot anyway. Last year, there were 97 incidents of school shooting in this country. That's up from 44 the previous year. And schools sometimes take reactive approaches to this kind of violence. In 2017, schools spent $2.7 billion on reactionary measures or preventative approaches. Things like surveillance systems, security cameras, really important things to have, but nonetheless sort of not addressing the root cause of the situations. Positive psychology has many definitions. One is my favorite, Chris Peterson. In 2008, he said, positive psychology is the scientific study of what makes life worth living. It asks questions like, what can we do systemically and structurally to ensure violence comes down? What can we add to environments rather than what can we take away? A great mystic, the great mystic poet, Rumi, said, water the fruit trees, don't water the thorns. Place your attention on what you can add, build, what you can give and grow, not so much on stopping, resisting, and blocking. So in schools this can look like a variety of programs. You know, we see social emotional learning programs, we see mindfulness, we see positive education, conflict resolution, resilience training. And my favorite of all these programs is mindfulness because I feel like it's a foundation. Mindfulness is the human capacity to be present in this moment, to notice what's going on and not necessarily be overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's happening in our environments. Mindfulness allows a space for self-reflection and for self-awareness. And there's been tons of studies on the impact of mindfulness in the last 20 years. And I'd like to share two that are related to youth in particular. One is by a UCLA study that was done in 2013 on a program called the Youth Empowerment Seminar. It's a mindful breathing program and life skills program, and it showed that students that participated in this program, adolescents were able to bring down their levels of impulsivity after just 4 weeks. Another program is the Quiet Time Meditation program implemented by the San Francisco School District, which was able to bring down suspensions in their middle school with the highest rate, 86% over the course of just 3 years of daily meditation with their students. This is huge. This really is stuff that really works. Social emotional learning programs have also had similar benefits. A study that came out in 2017 on the impact, a long-term impact of 81 social emotional learning programs over the course of 4 to 18 years show that 18 years later, kids that had participated even briefly in social emotional learning programs had decreased rates of violence, arrests, decreased incidences of clinical disorders, and improved relationships, among other benefits. I think the promise of positive psychology is the promise of developing strengths. When we do this, we do more than just avoid violence. We create environments of peace, love, self-transcendence, connection. Juan came to me a few days after and said, "Mr. Blank, I used the breathing you taught me in the street yesterday." Juan had been able to avoid a knife fight in the street by taking a moment to step back, use the mindful breathing we had learned, and put some distance between what was happening and his reaction. When we give the tools and when we water the fruit trees, when we water the strengths in our children, they bloom, and they themselves become the protectors of peace. Thank you.